Crappy video games. What used to be the bane of so many childhoods has now taken on new life thanks to the internet. As our species trudges further along, we seem to be diving further and further into masochism, rather than just being able to leave well enough alone. We instead feel a strange, morbid curiosity for these interactive abominations. Not only is playing and discussing pixelated crap fun for many, it's also lucrative. So many have tried to get a piece of that video game nerd pie. Some have succeeded, many have failed. So why am I now deciding to throw my hat in the ring? Because I think I have something for you that you probably haven't seen before. I mean, really, this is gonna be new territory. You think you know bad? Well, maybe you do. But do you think you know weird? Actually, you might have some familiarity with that as well. But still, I got something pretty bad and pretty weird for you. So, say hello to this thing. I barely have any idea what this is. I'm usually pretty light on my research I do for these videos, but this is one instance where I think even if I did try to go more in-depth, I wouldn't get very far. What it looks like to me is that this is one of those Chinese bootleg game systems intended to tempt people with a cheap alternative, or just fool grandparents into thinking that their grandchildren want this for Christmas instead of, you know, an actual game console. That's pretty much how I ended up with it anyway. It was a Christmas present, or maybe a birthday one, that I distinctly remember opening up and saying to myself, "The hell is this?" I've had this thing for a while, several years even, so no, this wasn't some purchase I made just to make a stupid video about. But, seeing as how I have one in my possession anyway, let's do just that, stupid video time! Before getting into what's actually on this thing, let's briefly go over the aesthetics. Anyone on the up and up when it comes to portable game consoles will immediately recognize what this thing resembles most, and that's the Game Boy Advance. The original Game Boy Advance, that is, not the Game Boy Advance SP. Anyway, the shape of this piece of crap is very similar. I'm not sure how it scales with the original GBA, but here's how it scales with the Game Boy Advance SP, so to anyone who has both that and the original Game Boy Advance, have at it. The buttons on this are mostly the same, with the directional pad, A and B buttons. No left and right though. Instead we have the start and reset buttons on the top, which is just such a great idea when you hold the console like this. Oh, you accidentally hit the reset button while trying to play? Well, too bad! All part of the added challenge! Anyway, the rest of the console is pretty self-explanatory. Volume control, headphone jack, you know. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a way to connect this to a TV or anything. I mean, I don't know why there would be, but it means that I'm just gonna have to zoom into the screen in order to get footage. Well, I guess let's turn this thing on and, oh, wait, the batteries. Of course, I gotta get the batteries in there. Okay, let's just turn this around and, oh, god damn it! Yes, apparently the manufacturers really wanted their batteries secured and so put a screw here. Seriously, what was wrong with this? Whatever, let's boot it up. Alright, so I put the batteries in. It was just 3 AAAs. It wasn't too hard, although I still don't know. Still don't know why they put the screw there. So, let's turn it on and see if it works. Well, that's some lovely, jaunty little music greeting us to Family 150 Sport in 1. I mean, the look on this guy's face says it all, doesn't it? Actually, to be frank, a lot of the games here aren't really that interesting. They're your standard sports games like tennis, bowling, baseball, golf, all of which I'm really bad at apparently, so not too different from what happens when I try to play them in real life. But it also doesn't make for the best content. There's a game called City Battle, which doesn't fit in with the rest of the selection, but actually isn't that bad. It's a decently fun 2D shooter. But let's get to what I really wanted to talk about, and that's this section right here, the mini games. These also have a lot of games not really worth taking a look at. Puzzle, table, more, sports, even though we already have a ton of those in this thing. But what I really want to bring your attention to are the action games. Let's take a look. There are 27 games in total in this section. I'm going to be playing all of them one by one. Some Action 52 action, if you will, only with about half as many games. Starting off with Hair Fighter. It reminds me of Joust, or maybe the original Mario Bros. Arcade game. You control what I guess is the Hair Fighter going up against narwhals and cute little one-eyed dudes, and you clear the board of them. except for the fact that after you kill one, they respawn soon after, so you're fucked. Next game. Next one, Jumping Mary. Already conjuring some strange mental images from that one. It's Q*bert, literally just Q*bert. Next game. Alright, now we got Robot War. Yeah, this is more like it. It's sort of like Combat in that it's an overhead view and you're a tank, but it's not co-op and you're just going around blowing up other computer tanks. It's kind of fun. Next up, West Cowboy. This is one I was really looking forward to, and it didn't disappoint. In this game, you're a cowboy going around shooting the shit out of anyone who crosses your path. Our first target is Link, apparently. Will he be able to measure up to the power of West Cowboy? No. What about generic Western dude? Can he do it? Nuh-uh. What about other guy? Does he stand any chance? No way, Jose. Yeah, do a victory dance. Have there be 2 of you. Or you and your ghost, sure. Well, I gotta say, this has been quite the easy game so far. I wonder who will be next. What the fuck? What? Andy's got a bazooka? That's not fair. How am I supposed to take on a bazooka-wielding Osama bin Laden with a revolver? Oh. Like that. Man, I am really good at this game. That is until the game starts throwing more than one gunman at me, and I'm fucked. Next game. Number 5, Balloon Boy. This one's actually a little cool. You're a boy on balloons, and you can't walk. Instead, you gotta tap the A button over and over in order to rise on your balloons to move. It's not a bad idea, even though I'm almost certain it was stolen from somewhere else. I mean, I shouldn't be giving the game designers too much credit here, but there's really nothing happening, barely any enemies, it's just a balloon jaunt. Next up, Crazy Fighter. That's a title right there. Let's see what this game's got. Okay, I definitely see the fighter, just not the crazy. Maybe it's called that because this isn't some enemy army you're squaring up against, but actually your own team, and you've just gone rogue. I trusted you, Gary! Yeah, I named our character Gary. It doesn't really matter now since he's dead. Next. Number 7, Jumping Boy. Okay, moving on. Rescue Pets. You're some bobble-headed sumo-looking dude bouncing cute little animals onto a blanket and then into a pile of leaves. That's it. Why they have to land in the leaves and why you can't just pick them up, I don't know, but the fact that I'm searching for logic and reason in this game means that it's failed to distract me via enjoyment, so we'll just move on. Alright, now we got Crossing, and it's just Frogger. Literally no difference. They couldn't even change the animal. It's Frogger. Moving on. Climbing Expert. You're someone climbing the vine on the side of a building, all while smacking into birds' nests and whatever other crap the tenants are throwing at you. Moving on. Number 11, Jack Adventure. Gross. You're some elf jumping around and dying. Next game. Next we got Seize Jewelry, which is just Donkey Kong, but with a scrolling screen, and nothing else. Next game. Alright, now we got Greedy Girl. Okay, there's certainly a girl. I don't really know what's so greedy about her. I get the feeling this might have been a mistranslation. I don't know, but the game itself is boring. Next. Spring Mice. You're a mouse on a pogo stick jumping on platforms. Could be kind of fun, except every time you land on another platform, the screen suddenly jolts around a bit, making for a rather unpleasant playing experience. Number 15, Rope Skipping. Do you mean jump rope? Because that's all this thing is. You're a girl jumping up and down on a jump rope. At least, trying to. The most entertaining part, though, is this boy, who is apparently swinging the rope from his cock. And look at that face, he knows he's doing it. Number 16, Pool Party. You got a line of kids you have to control jumping onto these little pool floaters, and if you do it at the wrong time, they fall in the water. Wait, what? It's a pool. That's not an appropriately severe consequence. They fell in the water? Oh no, it's a pool, whatever. I'm thinking too deep about this. Next game. Next game is Elvish Boy, a horrid little platformer with checkerboarded platforms and a city in the background. But apparently you're an elf. Great world building right there. If only the game was fun to make up for it. Number 18, Star War. Well, to clear things up, the title is really the only thing giving off vibes of that certain other franchise, though I suppose this spaceship design might turn some heads. The rest of the game has you as, I guess, a robot, or maybe a droid, or possibly someone in armor flying around and shooting things. Or not shooting things and just exploring the stars, which is what I did. Turns out there isn't much to see. Next. Number 19, Save the Fallen. You're a soldier in the middle of a war zone being showered by missiles, saving wounded soldiers by picking them up and putting them in a tent before the time runs out. How they manage to all fit in there is anyone's guess, but the most entertaining part of this game is when you die. I just love that dying animation, it's so over the top. Although in this instance it might actually be underplayed, since he's in remarkably few pieces for being blown up by a landmine. Number 20, Hell Marksman. You're some guy with a bow and arrow fighting jack-o'-lanterns. I guess I see the marksman part, but what's hell about this? These games sure have a knack for having titles they only somewhat deliver on. Number 21, Anti-Gravity Robo. Yeah, I'm backing out of this one. Number 22, Airborne Alien. It's one of those infinite runner or flyer type games where you can't stop moving and just have to avoid all the obstacles. Not bad overall, but again, I feel like you could get this same experience just about anywhere. Hell, there are probably mobile games that do this same concept better. Next. Number 23, Gliding Apple Girl. I swear, sometimes the titles here are more entertaining than the actual game. And this is no exception. Once again, not fully delivering on the title. I see gliding, I see girl, but where's the apple? I've been burned too many times on this. Next, number 24, Jumping Ball. You control this apparently very sad ball as he tries to jump on these blocks before they crush him, until the controls lock up and you die. Moving on. Number 25, Mad Ball. Another ball game, and this one's even worse. It's trying to be a physics game, but it forgot to master the most important part of those, the physics. Everything is so stiff, nothing moves or feels natural at all, total shit. Number 26, Crazy Tank. Another tank game, another game that promises crazy but doesn't deliver. Unlike the game designers, I don't feel like repeating myself. Next, and the last game on this little section, Glide Object. Oh wow, a level select. That's new, but the game is boring. Time to kill myself, and there I go. Okay, I'm done. For the most part, this really isn't a bad piece of hardware. It isn't cheap or flimsily constructed. I like the GBA-inspired design, it's very comfortable, it's nice to hold. I obviously think whoever made this just looked at the original GBA and said, "That! Do that!" But hey, if the design works, it works. I also kind of exaggerated the whole start and reset button thing earlier. I do think it's a bit of an odd placement, but still, they never really got in the way of anything. The buttons feel nice, they never got stuck or anything. For the most part, it's a decent little portable game system. Shame there's nothing good on it. The real big problem with this thing is the software that supports it. I know it's silly to demand that much from a crappy little however many in one game system, but I'm already giving this thing more than it probably deserves by even bothering to dedicate a whole video to it, so here goes nothing. To be fair, most of the games, at least that I played, aren't horrible. They're just uninspired and, in many cases, downright copied from other, more polished versions of the same idea. Also, I'm sure my setup of having to play the games through the viewfinder of my camera didn't help, but some of these games were just a real chore to play. They weren't especially buggy, other than the controls locking up like once. The whole system seemed in pretty good condition, but there's absolutely nothing here worth playing that can't be found somewhere else, probably in a better form than this. The most I can say this game gave me was the opportunity to win a duel with a bazooka-wielding Osama bin Laden with a revolver, which actually is pretty badass, so I digress. Well, my first video game review, and it was kind of a bust. This thing really didn't have that much to offer, but at least it had West Cowboy and that dying animation. So it gave us that. My advice to any grandparents watching this, next time you're out looking for a Christmas or birthday present for your video game loving grandchild, just get them an actual video game. Anyway, that'll do it for this video. See ya!